From an early age, she discovered the secrets of true strength, unlocking her potential as a pragmatic and centered leader. Her adherence to honor and duty helped her overcome all adversities, making her a formidable enemy to the Turtles. But why was Karai so successful where the Shredder and the Turtles failed? Today, let's delve into the origins and story of the original Karai from the Mirage comics. Karai was created by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird in 1992 as a pivotal character designed to bring peace to the endless cycle of vengeance between the Turtles and the Foot Clan in the City at War saga. Her name in Japanese can mean spicy, hot, strict, or severe, with the latter two descriptors suiting her particularly well. Despite her significance, many details of Karai's life remain shrouded in mystery, often catching both readers and other characters off guard when revealed. Karai grew up in Japan in a secret compound close to her home village, where she spent most of her time training her body and mind to be a ninja for the ancient and quote-unquote honorable Foot Clan. As a child, she heard about the legend of Takashi, the greatest of all ninja, who wore a beautiful amulet around his neck. Although destined to be the clan's finest leader, Takashi's quest for power blinded him, causing him to forsake the honor inherent to a true ninja and leaving a trail of slain comrades in his wake, something he didn't stop to reflect on until it was too late. Overcome with guilt and pursued by the spirits of those he'd killed, he secluded himself in a cave and committed seppuku, hoping to escape their wrath. But the ghosts imprisoned Takashi's soul within the amulet. Since then, legend has said that whoever found the amulet would gain Takashi's skills, both as a ninja and a leader. But it wouldn't be easy, because this amulet was under the protection of demonic spirits that only a skilled ninja could defeat. At some point during their training years, Karai and 6 of her peers discovered the amulet's location. After a long journey to the amulet, they were ambushed by the demonic spirits who killed half of them, leaving only Karai, Yoshikiko, and Hikaru. These 3 entered the cave, where Hikaru found the amulet. Hungry for power and wanting no competition, he knocked his fellow ninja down. Fighting for the amulet, Hikaru killed Yoshikiko, but Karai didn't interfere. It was as if she were waiting to see who would be victorious. Karai finally killed Hikaru and destroyed the amulet while doing so. By doing this, she freed the spirits of the victims and put an end to a long history of foot ninjas attempting to seize the amulet and dying in the process. This pivotal moment profoundly influenced Karai's understanding of power. She realized that true might was not external, but lay within one's inner strength. This realization would define her leadership style. Karai grew up to be the head of the Japanese branch of the Foot Clan in Tokyo. This was the branch Yoshi and Saki belonged to before the exile of Hamato Yoshi. Oroku Saki, driven by a thirst for revenge against Yoshi for killing his brother, grew up to master the ninja arts and eventually to command of the New York branch as the Shredder. Under his rule, he severed all ties with the Japanese branch, gaining enough power to operate independently. This autonomy worried the original branch, but following the Shredder's death, they quickly moved to devise a plan to reclaim the New York branch. Unfortunately, the Shredder had fostered a culture of violence and mistrust that splintered the clan into 3 factions posthumously, with the elite guard remaining fiercely loyal to his legacy, aggressively targeting anyone who opposed them. The Turtles, who inadvertently caused this escalation, found themselves completely out of their depths and unable to solve the issue. Karai's advisors initially believed the infighting would resolve itself, and that one faction would prevail. However, the violence escalated so dramatically that it captured international attention, compelling Karai to intervene directly. Once there, she wrangled some foot soldiers to her side and tracked the Ninja Turtles to their hideout. She forced them out to study them, but the fight got quickly out of control, and not wanting the Turtles dead, Karai ordered them to use tasers. With this tactic, they captured Leo, and while the other Turtles were escaping, Karai sent them a message with her phone number. Waiting for the rest of the Turtles, Karai asked the Foot to leave her alone with Leo, whom she decided to free. Once all the Turtles were together, she explained how she wanted to restore order to the New York Foot. She needed the turtles' help to kill the elite guard, as their irrational motivation represented a real threat to the organization. In exchange for their help, Karai promised the Foot would never trouble them again. The turtles thought hard about it, and whether they accepted it or not, they knew the elite guards were coming after Leo anyway. When they came back to talk to Karai, they found the place had already been attacked by the elite, and Karai's daughter, who was never mentioned before this point, was one of their victims. Distraught, Karai made Leo promise he would kill all the elites. Karai then donned the Shredder suit and tricked the elite to follow her to the remains of the second time around store. Taking advantage of the shock, Karai reprimanded them for acting like mad dogs and ordered them to commit seppuku. Only one obeyed, but the other three didn't buy her bluff, and a battle ensued. Karai armed a foot soldier with a machine gun to help them, but perhaps because it wasn't a ninja weapon, he failed to make a difference. This proved handy later though, when Donnie saw an elite about to kill Karai and couldn't reach her in time, so he grabbed the gun and killed the elite. Leo killed the last elite, finally ending the war. True to her word, Karai restructured the New York branch and briefly returned to Japan to mourn her daughter's death, scattering her ashes over Asana Bay in hopes of finding some peace for her shattered heart. Just like the turtles' actions were conditioned by the cycle of vengeance, Karai was honor-bound to her duties to the Foot Clan. Despite profound personal loss, her commitment to the clan's welfare never wavered, exemplifying her deep-rooted honor and leadership. Despite the agreed truce between the turtles and the clan, the two would become enemies occasionally. But for the most part, the clan never went actively after the turtles. During the events of the still incomplete Volume 4, alien life was finally made public to the world. When the Utrom set up an interstellar hub in New York, they established a no-guns policy for the security of their operations. But they still needed some sort of security, and that was when they decided to hire the Foot Clan, as they were experts in hand-to-hand combat. This arrangement inevitably renewed interactions between the clan and the turtles, during which Karai displayed a curious interest in Casey Jones. But Karai had her own problems. The Foot Clan was the target of an extermination quest by some weird-looking Aztec warriors. She contacted Leonardo without giving too much detail, and asked for his help. Leo would soon find out this was a desperate measure, as these warriors had already killed every active Foot member around the world, with only the New York branch left standing. Upon investigating the attacks, Leo found out that these warriors were very likely coming from a different reality. A short investigation later was enough for Leo to determine that these warriors were attracted to specific Foot Clan warehouses that stored copies of a mysterious book. Leo and Karai interrogated one of these warriors, who called Karai the Daughter of Evil. This warrior said it was their duty to prevent the sowing of the Five Dooms, and that the clan was toying with the powers of an evil book. This encounter supported Leonardo's suspicion that the warriors targeted the clan over arcane secrets unearthed by the Foot Mystics. Driven by his instincts, Leonardo infiltrated a warehouse to examine the books. Marked with a prominent N, these volumes were filled with spells, incantations, and mystical potions penned in an ancient language recognized by Leonardo, thanks to his late Master Splinter's teachings. He deduced these were part of the Nine. Karai kept downplaying the importance of these books in a very suspicious way. This made him suspect that Karai was being mind-controlled by supernatural forces. This investigation led Leo to the Battle Nexus, where he met Oroku Yoshi, a friendly warrior from another reality who looked like the Shredder. There, he confirmed that these Aztec-looking beings, known as the Warriors of Perfect Virtue, were aggressively crusading across multiple universes against practices they deemed immoral, such as magic and sexuality. One night, Karai, unaware of Leonardo's quest, witnessed a failed terrorist attack on an alien-friendly bar. Having found Casey drunk and hurt after trying to stop the terrorist, she offered him help from her doctors as partial repayment of an old debt. Casey woke up the next day in his underwear at Karai's home. Since he blacked out the night before, he wasn't sure if something had happened between them. The reason Casey was going on such a self-destructive path was because April had recently abandoned him, searching for meaning in her life after some life-changing events. Wandering through Karai's home, Casey inadvertently tried to rescue her from what he thought was a shark attack in her pool, not realizing the shark was just a robotic training device. After preparing breakfast for him, she gave him a ride home. In the car, Karai warned Casey about his alcohol abuse and invited him to reflect on the fact that something could have happened and he wouldn't even know. At the journey's end, she suspiciously asked him to use his facilities around the same time that April was returning home. Since that was the last issue published, we're still waiting for a resolution to these plots. But that's not the last Karai story. Aside from the main timeline, there's an alternate future, which I've explored in another video. In this future scenario, the Utroms discovered Earth was on the brink of another extinction event. They decided to evacuate the dominant species to another planet. However, some humans chose to stay behind, including April, Casey, Shadow, the Turtles, and the Foot Clan. It's speculated that the New York clan branch continued under the leadership of Cha Ocho, a character I'll delve into in a future video. By 2060, Karai was still the leader of the Japanese Foot. This period is captured in an almost silent story, where Raphael found a baby girl in the Tokyo sewers. He took the baby to the surface, seeking help from some local prostitutes to care for the infant, needing assistance with changing diapers and feeding. On his way to a hospital, Raphael had to fight against some zombies and a group of foot ninjas. The ninjas overpowered him, and to his horror, kidnapped the baby. Driven by desperation, Raphael enlisted the help of the people who'd aided him earlier with the baby to track her to Karai's hideout. There, he found out that Karai was simply bored, and the whole thing was just a gauntlet for old time's sake. The baby in question was Karai's granddaughter, Motoko. But there is an appendix to this story. Karai was absent from Volume 3 while it was in the canon. This volume was cancelled, and an official conclusion wasn't published until the Urban Legends miniseries. The new chapters explain that Karai left the Foot Clan to take care of her comatose daughter, Amai. Yep, that's the same daughter that died in the pages of City at War. It turned out that she wasn't 100% dead. Disgusted by the actions of Raphael's Foot Clan, Karai was also killing off foot ninjas during this period. This conclusion was quite convoluted, so all you need to know is that Amai's body was taken over by a parasitic being and became the Lady Shredder. She later 100% died, at least for now. If we were to interpret the ending of the story as the missing link between volumes 2 and 4, it would mean that Karai recovered from this ordeal and regained control over the Foot Clan once again. Returning to canon, Karai was a distinctly different type of leader. She prioritized the results of the organization over her personal desires, a stark contrast to Oroku Saki. This approach was crucial for her longevity, not only because she avoided antagonizing her own clan, but also because she was adept at negotiating with her enemies from a place of pragmatism. However, it's also true that very little is definitively known about her and her intentions in the later years of her story. Was she being controlled by supernatural forces? What were her intentions with Casey? Leave your thoughts below. Thanks for watching. See you in the sewers.